All right, moment of truth. I am going to try to go outsourcing. It's the first time since I started my treatments. I can't stand in line with 50 people and jam into an estate sale with everybody. I can't be in a crowded antique mall or sit next to a bunch of people at an auction right now. It's kind of like COVID time for me. I have a mask, I have sanitizer, and I have picked out a couple of garage sales that say they have vintage and one estate sale that has a big garage door that should be open, and I'm going to attend it about 3 hours after it opened on a Thursday because I think that that's the safe time. The first sale is behind me here, and it looks like they're putting a bunch of stuff out still. Wow, they've got a lot of Raggedy Ann. What's the oldest? They have this one here probably. Looks like a Johnny Gruelle drawing. The doll book might sell. You have to be selective. They did a ton of stuff in the 60s and 70s that you would think would sell, but it really doesn't. On the other hand, certain things do. Oh, there's little Lulu in there. This does not have a UPC code, so it's got some age. If I saw something that was really cute, maybe. But let's look at the dolls. $8 on the play school. The Knickerbockers this size sell for about, well, 20 on a good day. So that's staying here. Boy, do they have a lot of them. Some of the old ones are money, though. A lot of these are going to be the 70s era. But if we can find something older, we might be in business. Ooh, beloved Olympia.
Well, I guess it's gonna not be.
This one might be handmade. Don't know what they want for her. And then they have black versions who were not beloved Olympia, who came later. The original doll with a heart, that's because the original ones have a heart right there that says I love you. $10. 25. 70 for the set. Those are more valuable. You know, they're just all over the board. These are the 70s era plaques and banks. If the banks were in better condition, those would be worth getting. Child's dishes. I had the Bunny Rabbit version for Peter Rabbit. Kaleidoscope from the 70s, $12. Oh, and you actually see her in there if you could see her. Oh yeah, the blocks. There's one in the wagon. Classic Papa. A river guy from the 70s, that's fun. $6, yeah, I don't just love room in those. Sure crap kid cookie jar, but they want retail. 1946, and I haven't seen this one. Little bump. But these two sell. Yeah. 25 for the Sokai Limbs. Pretty Eickholt paperweight for 20. Treasure Craft teddy bear cookie jar. Yeah. And the Treasure Craft Dalmatians cookie jar. Let's see what they want for this. It does not say, so we cannot tell. Little yellow bird, ooh, $2. We'll take that. I'm sure that closed in the black light. I doubt that one does, but it's the right price. It's a Boyd's. They have the mark. Yeah, we'll take those. Well, this is a fun sale. They said their mother was a collector, and it shows. This is an interesting coffee table book, and with the interest in Chihui. This is 1993. I'm sure this will sell. Some rubber Cluedos. Let's see what era. Well, just reductions, but that's got tape stain. That's later. Yeah, I don't see any that are the combination of age and quality I like. Yeah, some of these in the original shrink wrap. People do seem to like the older Disney ones if they're in the original cellophane. Some good useful tools, but I don't need them. These look hand-painted. Italian. They're not great painterly quality. This is a neat looking old piece though. This looks like it's European. $10. I think that's fair for what it is. A lot of axes and hatchets, and these two sell around here, but they've got prices on it seem about what they should be. Wear safety goggles. Good advice when you're using the pickaxe. Hey, well, for my maiden voyage, that worked out pretty well. It was outdoors. I wasn't next to people. They actually did have vintage. We're driving past the Washington State Capitol going this way. The campus was built in 1909. We also passed by the old Olympia brewery, no longer in business, but still a very collectible thing because it was a major part of the economy and the party landscape here for a long time. Happy tales. Apparently, in this complex down on the end is this guy's garage sale, which means, again, it's outdoors, it's open air, there's not a lot of people here. I think I should be okay. We're just going to see how I do today. If I get tired, I'm going home. If I look at a situation and think it's too many people, I'm not going in. I have to take care of myself, but I also have to take care of my business. I do pay $1,500 a month in mall rents, and I need to keep sending stuff to Kentucky and Florida and try to keep that going in my absence. Here's a great old iron stove. I'm not sure what you would do with it. This is late Victorian. Oregon is the name. It has at least 3 of its feet. They're asking $100. Oh wow, 1859 patent date. There is an old school lawnmower for $20. A Sunbeam, that is out of the 60s. This little fiberglass boat from the 70s looks like it was fun and maybe fast. It might be older than the 70s. Look at this old motor on it. The Mercury Mark 20. Okay, great. Well, I'll take a look around. Thank you. Yeah, oh yeah, interesting. Sort of looks like fronds. Well, that's key. So let's go this crash. Now, I don't think this is an Eickholt. No, not the same quality. $10 on the horse bookends. I've sold those, but recently I actually got those box and minerals. That looks like a piece of glass cullet, actually. You got a lot of stuff in here. Old rocking chairs. $50 on the press back with the leather Pierceberg seat. $60 on the Mission. Old receiver here. That's a Fisher. That's an okay model from the late 60s, early 70s. Don't think this is as old as it. Yeah, the saucer doesn't go with it. Made in England. 70s era metal plaques are kind of worn. Dogwood painted for $3. Was this sort of Hollywood Regency looking with cut glass? But the bottom is corroded. Johnson Victorian was a decidedly not Victorian shape with not Victorian style on it. The mouse nearly barked at me with a teardrop in his eye. Aw. The mice that you're beating the mice. Kenny Parthing Records, Donovan. These look a little worn. Bobby Vinton. He sure had a lot of hits in the early 60s. Cup and Saucer is 10. It's not a particularly special one, although it's pretty. Yeah, a lot of these are higher prices than I would pay, but they did say to make offers. And the thing is, the stuff I found is priced well, so that's why you look at everything. Great Things Leo 99. I kind of like that glaze. I don't know if Great Things is the studio that we recognize, but I'm going to take a look and, ooh, look at that. I hope that's not a chip on the edge. I hope it's just dirt. Because this is Anne Marie Davidson. This is pretty good with the seahorse. I'm only asking $7. Yep, that is schmutz that will clean up. I'll take this. That's great. This is kind of a neat piece. $20. It's supposed to look like a Navajo loom. I'm sure it was made in that part of the country. It's a little threadbare here, and there would have been a figure sitting there doing the weaving. $10 each on these nice cups and saucers, which might be Dresden or Limoges. I think I'll take a look. Yep, the JP Limoges. Very nice. $10 is about the right price, I think. $20 on the ice bucket. That's a raised Canada goose. Somebody told me recently called them Canada goose, not Canadian geese. So I'm going to try to remember that. Ah, yes, Price, Japan. Oh, my friends in Florida with the restaurant like these. That one's stained. Do not disagree with the boss in any manner. Yeah, that's a good way to run a company into the ground. Have a boss that doesn't want you to tell them anything. Do not touch the animals, Western Washington Fair. Oh my, I bet. Oh, the Kalakala. Yes, that is not here anymore. We miss it. Wet paint. The expert is a man who knows more and more about less and less. I don't get ulcers. I give them, oh, I like that. Time wounds all heals. You think work is fun? Have a grand time on us. This is what men think. Sue Coleman. Yeah, this is an artist we see in the Northwest. She mixes the orcas with the ethnographic representation. Famous fairy tales, jigsaw puzzles, and Riding Hood. And the Three Little Pigs and Goldilocks. Some of these from the 70s are pretty good. If we had batteries with us, which I forgot again, we could check, but it doesn't have its trap either. So this is a really old outboard motor, and yes, you would have to restore it for $150, but it's old enough that that might be of interest to somebody who knows how to do that. Birch? The reel, I have to assume it doesn't work for that price because they're worth about $150 if they do. Yeah, the lamps are not cheap, so forget about those. We are out in the country and we saw a sign for a sale that wasn't listed, so we are headed to the middle of nowhere. This is my friend Bob's place, and he is recently retired from the antique business. I met him the first day I worked in the business. So to see what he has left. Paisley shawl, $24, Japanese, that's kind of pretty. Navajo weaving, oh, stained, that's too bad. Hello, everybody. These are full with the grinder in the top, but 20 is what I would get. Wall pocket for $6. Other 50s. For full of things. Check in the 30s or 40s. Cute cow for $9. I like the oak brocade. $6 is certainly cheap on that. I like these depending what they're talking about. This is an outfit, so this is going to be Portland. If it's from the Lewis and Clark World's Fair, I get it. But it's just more generic, and I'm not getting to do the show this year in Portland. So no shows for me until I get through this. This one's heavier and more substantial. This is Montreal. And this one's really cool. It's San Francisco, but it's supposed to have a glass liner. Love the cutouts, though. These are spelter colored with gold, 1900 to 1910. Patent piece, they want 30. That's more than I'm willing to pay. Understandably, he's not letting that ego chicly yet. Tug of War. That's great. 1902. And this is right before Dalton got the Royal Oregonian Field Day. That's kind of a neat thing. The newspaper in Oregon would have people go to the old stadium, which is still where the Portland Timbers play today. It's been there since 1928. Hotel Vancouver, up Canada. Ooh, I really like this. We'll see how much that is. I think that is a great piece. I love old cigarette holders, and that's Bakelite and feather of pearl. I'm sure some of these would be good. Military history. I'm sure some of those would be good. You know, if you wanted to just be a book dealer, you could still make a living doing it, believe it or not. There are a lot of bibliophiles if you know what to buy. Old British ships. Okay, we've got patches fitting the Seattle Police and some military regiments. $125. It is an artist. You know, he was an antique dealer for years, so some of the stuff that's special, well, you know, he has other ways to sell it. He's not in a rush. Bronze garden plaque, Art Nouveau. That's very nice. About 1910. Kingfishing dolls. Little mini hen-on-nest bill. Coral, like the Viking piece with the leaf cutter. Bird is a fantastic piece of howdah. I would never recognize it as such. It's very modernist. It's priced at retail at $3.25, but it is a great piece. 15 on the Amaranth bulk set is pretty good. They're worn, but they're all there. They sell pretty well for me. I might get that. Old English fishing reel for 10. You know, I haven't had one of these before. I think I like that. It's a good look.
We'll do right. Yeah.
More ruby. A lot of royal ruby. I like these two little stems. And bloom. Sooner glass. Glow blue, $30. This looks like 19th century stuff. Oh, England, 1890s or early 1900s. Souvenir of Spokane. Too bad about the stain. I love that. Almost all those buildings are still there in Spokane. They've done a great job of historic preservation. Not as true in Philadelphia. Shakespeare, William Marcellus did these for all sorts of stuff. This one's from this 1905 Lewis and Clark World's Fair in Portland. $35 is a fair price. I won't get to be at the Portland show this year. I hope lots of people go. It's a great show. Ruble stoneware, $5 is a decent price on that. Love the colors on these. Made in Germany. I did not recognize that pattern.
As they were cleaning stuff out, she said they just kept finding all this jewelry tucked everywhere.
Wow, how fun.
You haven't moved?
No, you're fine. That's a nice enamel there. I'm liking enamels in frames.
Yeah.
All right, our last stop is an estate sale. It was something that looked like it was going to be busy this morning, so I just decided to wait. They had a lot of brewery Hannah in the garage, and it looked like 1970s, 80s vintage. But I have customers for that, if the price is right. Which one is your shop?
Vintage Vault 33.
Oh, okay, great. And
We took over landlord's daughter.
oh, fantastic. Oh, that's great. I saw it the last week when I was there, and it looked really good from the outside. So you are on my list, I promise. Stop. Well, that bed barrel, somebody would like that, but they take a lot of room. 15's not bad on the mirror. This is impressive. It's all the stamps. A bag mailed from India back in the 1950s or 60s. Yeah, we crustage dude. 45 on Black Label, 40 on Amstel, 50 on Champagne. I'm studying all about the pyramids. Ha ha. Copper is a great look. I'd be afraid of asbestos, though. Old English crockery beer.
You see all the brass in the living room?
Yes.
Do you like grass box for
Wow.
20 on the Volcati and 100 on this one with the mirror in the Art Nouveau style. That's pretty. These are being sold by the set, which is smart. I'm sure there's no skirling in them. I do see a World Spare here, though, in the $10 group. A Century of Progress, 1933. There'd have to be about 2 more interesting ones for me to buy that, though. I like these 70s Norwegian style enamel. 13, not a bad price. This is the Torian. 38 on the salt box. 45 on this set. It's not bad now that people are buying these again, and this is not an ethnic looking tie pattern. It's actually Golden Decay, so a little more collectible. These look like they're Mount St. Helens ash, and this is a different company than I have. I am starting to put this aside with the idea of writing a book. St. Helens ash, where I have a piece of veneers. Thomas is one that I haven't seen. This is brass. It has a lion head. It is really a very fancy piece that's not a pure mirror because the shelf is built in. It is an old brass piece for $900. Oh, too God, that's as is, because at 30 I would have picked that up at the Birch. I need to get some of this out. I have a box full of it, and that's a good price. It's Tibbin, but people want sets. This looks like deer wood for $2. 30 on the Fenton. That's my retail. The house is a little more interesting inside than I thought, though. The rocker sits very low because it's 1890s. Collector eggs. Most of them are going to be too recent for me, but I'm curious to see. Yes, they are Franklin Mint, 1980s. It is possible that a few of these may sell for a premium. I can't see or think about the Franklin eggs without thinking about Cereal Mom. You folks have seen that. Well, there's an unfortunate murder at a flea market that involves Franklin Mint eggs. We've got a magazine stand. I love these old phones, but 75, that's my retail. Some Brewery Ann over here. $8 on the Rolling Rock sign. That's a maybe. A little bit of a chip on that corner, though. 5 on the shakers. Now I'm surprised these are still here. I'll take those. These later Budweiser mugs, you know, they just made so many that there's a lot of them around, and Eickholt did it, and I just think these are not an easy sell. The mirror is kind of cool, 75. Oh, look at that, South Bend, Indiana, where Studebakers were made. I went there for the convention on the 25th anniversary of the closing of the factory, which you see in the background, because this is 1874, and by then they were a huge carriage-making concern. I like the hams, those, but I'd only get about 20 apiece for them. People do love the hams with your bear, though. And that one's St. Patrick's Day, a little harder to find. Late 70s, early 80s, these faux stained glasses actually do pretty well. Footed beer glasses there from the late 70s. More of South Bend, Indiana. And there's Tippy Canoe Place Restaurant. That was the Studebaker mansion. I dined there. It was wonderful. We sat in the same hall where they entertained the Harrisons and other U.S. presidents. We don't see a big call for these late 60s, early 70s advertising pictures. I think they're cool, but I really only seem to get about 12 to 15 a piece for them. $200 on the old icebox is not a terrible price. $50 a set for the entire botanical annual older prints that were redone in the 70s and 80s in small sizes. Pretty good price, really, for all of them. And boy, did they like the gold. This is just not the era of Stein that sells for me. History of France, that could be interesting. And the Dutch Republic. Teddy Bear, the last of the Kennedy clan. This is when his private life started to overwhelm his public life. That could be worth buying. Holden Bosser from an office for $40. They have a couple of those. Now this looks like one of the old Jim Beam bottles that's a car. And they can sell, although they really like the race cars in the VW Beetle. Oh, but I see the mirror is broken off the side, darn. Some Japanese sake bottles. And some whiskey bottles, but newer era. World coins. I'm sure that was a good collection that's long gone. Who are these people? Dinner for the Plymouth Motor Company Service Clinic. Now that's kind of interesting. There's a picture of Walter P. Chrysler in the background, I believe. I like the English mirror, the way it's hanging. It has a wire, but they covered it up. $50. Not a bad price for that. Interesting shapes are what make them cool to me. I have one, in fact. $20 on the representation of Mars from about 1970. This is interesting looking. $45. Is that Art Nouveau or just a lookalike? We'll take a look. Nice chocolate. Kind of hard to tell the age. More than I want to spend. $125 out of the scale, but that was a nice one. But this is Mount St. Helens ash. Made locally. I'm pretty sure I recognize it. Nancy Ann storybook dolls. They're in composition at $5 each. I can price these to sell. This one even has her wristband. This says Storybook Dolls by Nancy Ann. These are composition, not plastic. That's important. This one is Friday's Child. She has a bunch of papers. She's in good shape. We'll take her too. Any of these in good condition for $5 each I will take. Cute little table here. I don't see a price on it. 1940s, I'd say. This is for the 50s. Not a bad price for what it is, really. It would clean up, too. This is old. Soap container, but it's missing the liner. As they drained. Wedgwood, a little different shape to this box. Only $3. Well, we'll take that.
And then we have it.
For that price, yes. And chips. 1930s black amethyst. Cute little trophy cup there. $5. In our trophy cell. That might be worthwhile. These are Greek. I find them hard to sell, even though I think they're interesting. With neoclassicism coming back, I kind of thought they'd pick up, but they haven't for me. This is cute. 1930s little sauce jar. Aztec calendar is nice looking. They want 10. Home atlas from the Second World War. Nice settee for $90. Nicely upholstered too. That looks like it would actually be comfortable. Some Shushan boxes. And the Martha Washington is $100. Shoe shine stand is $75. There's some neat stuff in here. These are usually 1970s reproductions. I can only imagine dress up that was going on here. $60 on this little smoking stand. $25 on the doorstop is not a bad price. We see this one a lot. It also could be made into a lamp. That's why you have that fixture there. Metal bed is $200. It does look like it is antique or repainted. Maybe sandblasted as well. Left in for $8. We see a lot of these cheese crocks from the 70s. More brass. This looks like an older vase. Oh yes, Corona ware. It's the Winchester pattern, only $3. This is from about 1920. I like the little bell that is the Bobby's cap for $10. Metropolitan Fleece. The inkwell is nice. Now again, this has weight, but the screws and the way it's made make me think that it's a 1960s or 70s version, especially this looseness in the hinge. A Carnival glass bottle from about 1940. Chamber sticks. Another old vase that's pretty. Handmade Tarok bottles. Let's see what they have. Black salt. April 1934 design patent. Violin bottle is only $3. That's pretty cheap. You see these a lot. They originally had a wire stand to hold them, but for $3, that's tempting because it's so inexpensive. Old mirror for $75. And more pewter. Let's see if this is older pewter. They have all the graduated sides. Cut with that mark that it was 20th century, probably 1970s. Some more bottles down here. General generic medicine bottles. This one was berry California syrup. That's common. Dr. Baker's pain relief. $60 on this painted smoking stand. You can see the copper interior. That's your humidor. That's why they're smoking stands. And then you'd have your ashtray and your pipe cleaners and stuff up on top. That is a fair price for that. $80 on the little settee there. All right, let's see what we've got. Old bed frame. Beds. Something that looks like California raisins that I think might have been hand done. I do not know those to be official. More pewter. More botanicals. More newish brass. Another scale. This one is $30, but I like the other one better. Brass letterbox. For somebody who likes brass, this would certainly be your sale. $45 on the Capitol bookends, or cathedral, I guess, actually. Those are kind of neat looking, but that's what I would want to charge. I like these leather chairs. $75 is actually a good price per button tuck leather in this color. If I had room to put them somewhere to sell, I would get them. I have nowhere to store them right now. Overleaf table. I like this table. It may be a marriage, but it might be a happy marriage. No, I think it might be original. I don't see a price. I wonder what they would take. It's a little rough on the corners and needs some refinishing. These are American Airlines off of the airplanes. I'm pretty sure they're plate. Oh yeah, definitely plate. You can see the wear through to the brass. Coal shuttle for $40 is a pretty good price. Shells and ornaments. Certainly inexpensive enough. I like some of this English furniture they have as well, because it's a nice size. Reproduction of an old Long Island map. A few things back in here. This actually is supposed to go next to your fireplace and have a little fire starter stick in there to keep your embers. shaker boxes, but these are pretty new. Clothes kind of look regular. May as well take a second with these. Williamsburg, Virginia. Augusta Insurance. This could actually be from the Civil War. Lots of small banks actually issued these kinds of bills because the Confederate government couldn't do it. Says authentic. Do we believe this? Antiquities Limited. Well, I don't know that it's actually rare, but I think it's interesting. And I get the feeling that it's just sort of overlooked, so we'll get that. Games of the Olympics. Some of these Olympics things do sell. The brass are not such a big deal. Oh, this is a bicentennial stamp book. I'll leave it in there. 100 on the cedar chest. Some old ginger beer, bottles from England. An old ship model. These bisque pieces of Mozart, then Franklin. I think a lot of these are Avon. Leonard silver plate down there. $10 on this. It shows the famous portrait of Mariana Augusta Ferdinand. It's the Queen. But this is a later edition, of course. You can tell by the modernist design. And who are you? Chalkware. I passed the last one of these I saw at $25. This is old. They put a magnet in it, but you can see that it's old. It even has an age crack. I'm tempted by this. It's extra space for someone in the bathroom, just like they used it here. $30 for the big train that goes under the tree. There is still some brewery on the back here. We're going to take a look and see. Considering that I thought the inside of the house didn't amount to much, well, it's actually turned out pretty well so far. Tons of beer cans. Aged in the brewery cellars, ABC beer. New Jersey. Garden State, 1977. Cold Spring. They said $3,000 worth of beer stuff right away this morning. $12 on the Heilmann's, not bad. $35 on Kentucky Derby. Now, because I sell in that part of the country, that might be worth getting, but I don't think I could get $70. $20 on this is not bad. That might go for $40 somewhere, especially because the horse is interesting. Monastic deer. Frankfurt. Old style. It's cruisinated. I always wondered what that meant. This is fun. Budweiser. Looks like the newer logo, though. $15 for the Heineken, but it has damage. Falstaff. These look older than they are. They're based on the really old ones, but they were done in the 60s and 70s. Wiedemann, you're a stranger no more. Now, I know somebody who lives in the Cincinnati area who I think would like that. Old Schmidt beer. That's enough of a look for $10. We could do that one. That's actually kind of cool. I don't know that I could get $40. Platts beer at local prices. And here's another Wiedemann, but that's $35. Heidelberg White Pilsner. Now we are into this stuff. 100 on the can in good shape is about right. A Craftsman set of drawers for the 50s, 300 with every tool in it. Lubricating grease, that's a cool old tin for $25. Graphite oil for $10. Corsair Iron Smooth Clean for $25. Let's see what this looks like. It's not a company we're used to, but it's a pretty standard size. $30 on the bench vise is not a bad deal. And a few more cans. Okay, the trays were something that really interested me. Now, a lot of the prices were more than I was willing to pay, but we will see. 1992. A bit more nascent. McEwen's beer. That's got a good graphic. But these brushes are about what I get for most of these, so unless I see something that matches a particular customer or they're a little less expensive. Like Thomas Escher, that's a maybe. All stop down 7. Meisterbrow. $10 on Knickerbocker. It's misprinted. You can see the double pumps. Errors are not good on stuff like this, generally speaking. Now, the Pabst tip tray for gun, that is super clean. Yeah, I think we'll take that. The Shenley for 20, I think we'll leave. This is a great tray, but 25 without the right price. 5 on Rheingold. Now, this one's pretty common, but that's a great price. A little bit yellowed there. I don't know what that stain is. If it seems like it'll just lift off. Look at all these little kegs. These are kind of fun. $10 to $15 a piece seems like a reasonable price. I could see people enjoying some of those. Old Milwaukee Schlitz. More Schlitz. This would be a place to come back to on Hap-Off Day and scarp up a bunch of these. Scratches and rust just make these a no. There's enough of them that are in good shape. You don't need to go reaching for ones that aren't. Who's the Knickerbocker I like? And that's 12. Okay. Yep, good condition. This one sells for me. There's one scratch. I can probably forgive that because the front is good. So that one I will take. A reproduction of an early Leinenkugel tray. Brewed in the Pennines. Yorkshire Bitter. They get thinner and thinner with time. By the 90s, they're really thin, and then you start seeing plastic. Well, this is fun because it's a fun category. Now, the breweries, 25. If it didn't have the wear there, I would buy that. 15 on Heineken. Pfeiffer Beer out of Detroit. I like that modernist look. We'll give that a try. Stopford Breweries. It's a little split on top. Crayons, Alpha Color. Oh, they're cracked, but they're still cool. Conquistador bookends are 35. Quality, and back when that was their logo a long time ago. A big machinist chest under there full of stuff. Up on the top here. I always like these paperweights with the pennies in them. $5. That seems buyable, honestly. I think I could get 15 for that. This is a Sirocco wood piece where you have room for all of your pencils and your paper and pads and everything. WP, I wonder what company that was. That's a nice old buckle from maybe the 50s. It's not Western Pacific Railroad, or I'd take it in a flash. Kentucky Club Mixture, those are pretty common. Caesar Palace. $15 on this. This is one of these viewers. A realist viewer. You plug in and put your slides in. That could be handy if you're going through a bunch of old slides. Carlton Studio. Why, yes. The slides. Guess we better put those back together. Boss No Smoking, 20 is about the right price. Frankenmuth, Michigan. Ice Capades. Oh yeah, Labatt's the year after Expo 86. Stuyvesant Kefauver. Really? Now this is giving Valentine. A little bit of damage. $50 they're asking. Oh, the ubiquitous Playboy mug. How much are you? 5. Yeah, that's a buy it price. That's blue. $30. Winter Games collector cans. Oh, I see, for Calgary in the 80s. Well, actually, I have all the Olympics up to date beam bottles. Don't see any of the ones that I sell that actually go for anything. Old Remington typewriter for 35. Or 25. That seems like a pretty good price. Down here, what's this? $30 on. Oh, some sort of a reel-to-reel. That's actually probably a pretty good deal. These are fun. I always think that rubber stampers should pick these up. They don't sell as fast as you would think. 45, that's about what I get for them when they sell. That's pretty cool. Some more old boxes. More cans. Boy, they were not kidding. They had a lot of cans. A little bit of wire furniture down here. Have to do some repainting, though. Nice wicker set for $300. Well, I'm in front of Centralia's old train depot because I am right by Tower Avenue Antiques. I have a nice view of the train depot from my space. Some of this stuff's going to go in my space, so let me do a haul really quick. Some's going to go to Kentucky, some's going to be sold on my live sale. This is coming out in no particular order. At the third sale, I bought the Amaranth pool balls for $15. I will price them around $35 to $40. The English fishing reel, I think I'll send that to Kentucky. It should sell for $20 there. It's a big fishing area, and they look cool on a shelf. And for $5 at the sale that I got the other two pieces from, came this cigarette holder. And no, I'm not taking up smoking, but it's a nice one with Bakelite and mother of pearl. I paid $5. Lots of fun stuff came from the last sale. I paid $15 for the Pfeiffer beer because it is a modernist look. I think it can sell for $30. The interest in these is really picked up. The tip tray was immaculate, so I paid $10 to get $20. Same with this, but I just don't have a lot of Brewery Ann right now, so I was willing to just take double my money on these pieces. I paid $12 for the Knickerbocker tray. I always price those around $24. They gave me this. I think it's interesting. It probably will sell for $6 or $8, but it's a political tome from right about the time of Chappaquiddick. This was interesting. We agreed on $10 on this. I don't really know what they go for. We're going to look that up. I might put that online just because it'll be an interesting to study and to talk about what was happening during the Confederacy and why so many banks besides the National or Confederate Bank published money. We agreed on $5 for this. It does have a crease. It's the service clinic dinner for the Plymouth Motor Corporation in 1934 at the Marquine Hotel. I'm going to look up where that was. There's Walter Chrysler in the background. And this must have been something from Family because they show a circled picture of Arthur Peterson, so we at least know who one of the people in the photo was. I just thought that was interesting. And I just need one car person to think it's interesting too. The ornament, I believe, is a Mount St. Helens ash glass ornament made right down the street here in Centralia back in the 80s or early 90s. That last sale really had some stuff. The Drury's beer, I paid $5. This was a beer company with an interesting story. It operated in Indiana and it moved around, so it's known in more than one place. And because of that, I think it'll sell. They were $5. I usually get about $10 for the beer bottle sets, sometimes $12. Wrapping up that last sale, we got the Air Guide temperature gauge for $5. These usually sell for about $15. People just like having those inside. The Franklin Mint egg that plays music, I paid $8. That should sell around $20. Nancy Ann's storybook dolls in composition. Yes, the market went flat, but they are selling again now if they're in good shape. For about $15 to $18 a piece, I paid $5 each. And this, the big attraction to me, besides all the interesting stuff with the world and all the latitude and longitude lines, was the Brussels World's Fair mark. That might go on eBay. $8 we paid. The horse bookends will stay right here at Tower Avenue Antiques. I just sold these for $25. I paid $10 for these. Maybe I got $30. I'll have to look. The Anne Marie Davidson is a great piece. The seahorse should sell for around $40 to $45. I paid $7. These three, she charged me $5 for the three of them. I usually will only pay about $1.50 each, so that was close enough. And then the stuff from the first sale, other than the Wedgwood box, which came from the last sale for $3. The Eickholt paperweight, well, that was our best buy of the day, $20. It should sell for over $100. The red marble tells me this is probably French. 1930s, it's bronze. It was only $10. I suspect that could be a $30 piece easily. The little Boyd's pieces, the one on the right is Vaseline glass. They were $2 each. I should get $15 to $18 for the Vaseline and maybe $10 or so for the other one. The two Raggedy Anns, they only charged me $1 each and $3 for the Chihuly book. So all in all, I feel a great sense of relief because at least for the time being, until the treatments pile up and I really have to stay indoors and away from people, I should be able to safely shop like this for a while. And it's great because it means I can keep bringing fresh stuff to the stores, keep sending fresh stuff to the stores abroad to keep them going, and have fun with you.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.